all-new Dr. Phil.
The shooting of 19-year-old Jacob Limberios.
Unraveling a mysterious death.
It was labeled suicide. We think you know that it was not a suicide.
I know for a fact that he shot himself.
The science says it couldn't have happened that way. If there's something you know,
There's not.
I have been telling the truth. Jacob did this to himself.
Brittany's your girlfriend. Are you covering for her?
No.
The witnesses agreed to take a polygraph.
I just feel like as if I got set up to do this.
That's offensive.
This is for TV, right?
This is for a boy's life.
What will the tests reveal?
I have the results here. The results are...
Jacob, why are you doing this to me? Why?
It is a tragic and mysterious death that we began to unravel yesterday. The shooting of 19-year-old Jacob Limberios. Jake's family says there was no initial investigation, no autopsy done, and the coroner never even went to the scene. The family says the police simply went by the witness statements that Jacob shot himself in the head. His death was ruled a suicide, but his parents say Jake would have never killed himself, and they believe that someone else shot him that night. Here's a recap of what happened yesterday.
Listen, running 911, my friend just shot himself in the head. Stay on the line, calm down.
Haunting screams from a night that forever changed the lives of 4 young adults and their families.
My 19-year-old son, Jake, was found dead with a bullet through his head.
3 friends who were with him that night say he shot himself by accident.
Jake had a .357 Magnum revolver.
He picked up the gun. The next thing I know, I hear a really loud shot.
The whole living room shook when he fell.
Jacob is lying in front of me, and blood is coming out of his head.
An officer told me, "I'm sorry, your son is dead." Sorry, guys.
His family believes that it was actually one of them who accidentally shot Jake, but they're afraid to tell the truth.
The family looked at us like we had something to do with this.
His death was ruled a suicide.
I know my son. He would not commit suicide.
This was not a young man with a history of depression.
No.
One of the first suspicious things that we realized at the funeral home is that Jake was shot in the left side of the head, and Jake is right-handed. Things just did not add up. We wanted the coroner to order an autopsy.
The sheriff's department closed the investigation.
And so we made a decision to have Jake exhumed. We approached Dr. Sarah Weck for this autopsy.
Dr. Weck ruled that he couldn't have done it.
There was 2 forensic pathologists that say this is a homicide.
Did you actually see him shoot himself?
Yeah, but I don't remember anything.
If someone shoots themselves in the head, that is an explosion. It is a gunpowder explosion. They leave powder burns. There aren't any. I'm telling the 2 of you, if you do know something, you need to give that up.
None of us had anything to do with your son's death. It just feels like another deposition. It just all,
Are you complaining about them asking you?
I've told the truth from day one. I took the lie detector test. I'll take another one.
We have been telling the truth, and they still don't believe us. Mike, he's caused so much pain. So why do I have to wake up every morning feeling like I want to die?
I want to clear Jake's name from the suicide that's on his death certificate, so his 4-year-old daughter doesn't have to grow up and think that her daddy put a gun to his head.
Michael says that when they couldn't get the coroner to change Jake's death certificate to accidental death, they were forced to exhume Jake's body and have renowned forensic pathologist Dr. Cyril Weck perform an autopsy. Now, Dr. Weck has personally performed more than 18,000 autopsies and has consulted worldwide on more than 38,000 others and is joining us via satellite. Dr. Weck, good to see you again.
Thank you, Dr. Phil. A pleasure to be with you.
Tell us what you have concluded from your studies here.
May I say at the outset, Dr. Phil, that this case is a blatant example of why medical legal investigation is so important and why some coroners and occasionally medical examiners improperly finesse a scene, do not do what is supposed to be done. If you've got 4 people and a shooting occurs, then you've got to go in there right away. You want to interrogate each individual separately. You want to do gunpowder residue swabs of their hands. You want to get the weapon. You want to make sure that you get all the photographs of everybody and the body of the victim, and conduct a proper investigation. As you have pointed out, and as the parents and the young folks have said, this, of course, was never done. So I found what I felt was a gunshot wound of entrance on the left side in the posterior temporal area, which, by the way, was commented upon, as my understanding, by the paramedics who went there at a gunshot wound of entrance also, and that the exit was a little bit lower and a little bit more anterior on the right side. As you have pointed out, and it should be stated, there is a difference of opinion as to entrance and exit. However, that is not the relevant issue. Let's talk about the distance from which the shot was fired. That is the key to solving this. As you have said, Dr. Phil, when you shoot a gun, this is a .357 Magnum, it's a powerful weapon, a tremendous explosive of force. Carbonaceous pigment comes out, burning and burnt particles, the explosive effect, and you have a deposition of gunpowder residue. If it's a tight contact wound, it goes inside, and you'll see it then on the underlying bone, and then on the dura mater, and even onto the brain tissue. If it's loose contact back a little bit, you'll still see it there. And then if it's back a couple or a few inches, you'll begin to get a stippling pattern. Stippling pattern, as the particles come out, think of the bottom of an ice cream cone, and they're moving in that fashion toward the top of the cone. And stippling, you take a pen and just make black dots on a piece of paper, that's stippling. So the gunpowder residue, the tattooing, as it's sometimes referred to, and the stippling was not evident. If you don't have it, then you have to have a shot that was fired from a minimum of 18 inches, usually 24 inches we talk about with handguns. Now, you do not get that absence if a shot is fired at closer range. And this is where we are. And if somebody says, well, it was accidental on his part, let's go with their version, shoots from the right side. I don't care, right or left. You got to hold that gun out like this in order to shoot. In fact, wait a minute, it's got to be like this then, and shooting. You know, it's just not plausible. It may fall within the realm of physical possibility if you want to talk about some kind of contortionistic movement, but it's not something that is very plausible.
To get that gun 18 to 24 inches away, you'd have to pull it with the trigger with your thumb, probably, if you got it behind you to shoot forward. So you say it's possible but not plausible.
Yeah, possible. Anything that is in the realm of human physical maneuverability, one must say possible, but to think that someone is going to hold the gun out like this, he knew that there was a live round, and I won't repeat myself, it just is something that I frankly would have to reject as a coroner.
Okay. Does anybody here, any of you 4, have a question or comment for Dr. Wecht before we excuse him?
I agree with everything that he's saying.
This is why you can't let go.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Dr. Wecht, I know how busy you are. I thank you very much for joining us and bringing us your expertise. As always, we'll see you again soon, I'm sure. All right, next, Brittany and Will each took polygraph tests in July of 2012. We're going to talk about the results of those tests when we come back.
Lie detector test was scary. The same 8 questions. There was a question if I shot Jacob, obviously, and I said no, and it came back truthful.
I had to take a lie detector test. They said we passed with flying colors. We've told the truth many times. I don't think Mike can believe us because he doesn't want to believe that his own son accidentally shot himself.
We had Jack Tremarco, former head of the FBI's polygraph unit at Los Angeles, review the results of the polygraph tests that Brittany and Will took. And we'll talk about that in a minute. I want to be very clear. When y'all were asked to take a polygraph, you said yes, bang, right? You had no You didn't avoid it, evade it, delay it. You both said, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jack is here, Jack Tremarco. You have no opinion. You're not suggesting that these two are guilty of lying or any wrongdoing at all. You just have some comments on the actual charts themselves and how they might be interpreted. Is that correct?
That's exactly right, Doctor. I did review the charts. In fairness to the examiner, there was no video that was provided to me. I don't know if he conducted the exam with a video. Most people do. I do. But I didn't have that benefit. I did review the charts, question formulation. I scored the charts, and quite frankly, I was a bit disappointed in the results. My numerical scoring indicated inconclusive. Mm-hmm. Now, again, that in no way is a determinant of deception or truth. It's almost like these two young people never took a polygraph test, in my opinion.
Because of the way, not because of anything they did.
No, absolutely
not. But
not.
just because of the way things you don't know about.
I saw no evidence of countermeasures, that is, attempts to beat or muddy the waters of the polygraph. They seem to have complied with all the examiner's requests.
Yeah, and you know, that's one of the things I want. Look, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened here. But what I do know is I want to accurately report the conduct of these two since this took place. And the conduct of these two since this took place, you know, we talked about inconsistencies in the interviews. I saw nothing significant. There was nothing I saw from these two that was a red flag to me that they're lying. They were asked to take a polygraph. They stepped up and said, yes, I'll take the polygraph. And the expert, with whom I have great confidence, is saying that not because of them, but that these charts were inconclusive. So they did everything they were asked to do in the way they were asked to do it. And that's all y'all can do. Mm-hmm. But they were inconclusive. So I just want to be clear about that. Okay? And it doesn't mean that I am not saying I don't understand why you're having trouble understanding this based on what Dr. Wecht, who I think is the best of the best. But Dr. Wecht is saying it's in the realm of possibility, but highly unlikely that this person shot himself. Possible, but unlikely. Let me ask you straight up. If these two sat with Jack Tremarco and took a real, legitimate polygraph, somebody doing the right thing in the right way, and pass that polygraph, will you turn them loose and leave them alone? Would that solve this for you in your minds and hearts?
I think it'll help. It'll help me.
What do you say, Shannon?
I would agree.
You know, you want to know what happened that night. That's the big thing you don't know, and I can't explain to you still how he did it. I have no idea. I wasn't looking him in the eyes when it happened. I just heard the gun go off. I just can't tell you guys, you know, how it happened. I can't answer that for you because I don't know how it happened.
But you can answer the question, did you pull that trigger and shoot that young man accidentally or otherwise? And you can both answer that question in some form, right, Jack?
Dr. Phil, I'm thinking of asking, did Jake shoot himself in the head? That's really what this is all about. He either did or he didn't. It'll be yes or no. Now, the way that should be prefaced is, you may not have been watching. You may have been looking in a different area. For example, you're at a baseball game. Joe DiMaggio is up at the plate, to date myself, and everybody cheers, and he's announced, and he's up at the plate, and you see the first pitch, you see the second pitch, and then you reach down to get your drink, and you hear the crowd roar, and they stand up, and you see the ball go into the stands. It's a home run, and Joe DiMaggio's running around the bases. Even though you didn't see him hit the ball, you know he hit that home run. That's what this is all about. Not specifics, but what you know.
I'm willing to do it.
Okay, and you're willing to do it?
Of course.
All right. I'm going to have some important words for these two after the break. On March 2nd, 2012, Jacob Limberios was shot in the head. His death was ruled suicide, gunshot wound to the head. Deceased, shot self in the head, may not have realized the gun was loaded. The three witnesses say while Jake did shoot himself in the head, it was an accident. Well, after nearly 2 years of unanswered questions, his family believes that Jake was shot by someone else in that room. What concerns me is I have a great respect for science.
That's where
And I think the only way this could have happened would be with a thumb and a gun held out at arm's length and a trigger pulled. And that defies all logic. The psychological lead up to this, in terms of his mood, his verbalizations, his encounters, his demeanor, his future-oriented thinking, suggest absolutely not suicide. So when I say there's no psychological prequel to this event that would suggest this was suicidal, your son did not kill himself on purpose. Hopefully that helps to clarify what you know and believe to be true. From an objective standpoint, I see the same thing. What I want you to understand is you've got to take care of yourselves here. We've advanced the ball, I think, today, have we not?
Yes.
And these two young people have agreed to take a polygraph by what I believe is the best guy in the polygraph arena. That's going to fill in a big void for you.
That's huge.
I hope. But I do know this. You got to take care of yourselves. And you two aren't doing that very well. And you're snapping at each other and biting at each other. And you're experiencing a lot of guilt and pain over this. Your wife actually said to us that she believes that you want her to punish you, that you want her to criticize you, you want her to blame you because you feel so badly about what has happened here. Is she right?
Probably partially.
You say that you do blame him some because he had a gun in the house.
I hated guns. Jake loved them. I mean, it was kind of his passion. He went to flea markets, gun shows, but he was always so responsible with them.
Yeah. But that's not his fault.
It's not.
But you say that, but yet a part of you, it's like, damn you, if you hadn't allowed this to be part of our lives, he would still be here. That's not fair. No. That's not fair. It's not fair for you to say it to yourself. What do you hear me saying to you?
Not to blame myself. I hear you.
Why is that so hard for you to hear?
I don't know. I get it when you say that we've got to help look out for Jake's daughter now.
She's lost her father. Don't let her whole family fragment here. I'm ready, willing, and able to get y'all some help in navigating this for yourselves and for each other, and sometimes it helps to have somebody sit down privately and unburden yourselves with what you have to say, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. When we come back, we'll have the polygraph results.
Wednesday on an all-new Dr. Phil.
My husband's mother is insane.
Let Dr. Phil decide how crazy I really am. Come on, Dr. Phil.
Is she delusional?
Nicole is a liar. She has 5 names. She poisoned my son.
That's crazy.
Or is her daughter-in-law
You said she used hoodoo and voodoo.
a devil woman?
Telephone 666. The address where they got married. 666.
Have you married the spawn of Satan here? How did it go with Jack?
Oh, great, you know. He was a good guy, nice to talk to. I feel like he did a great job.
Yeah. I'm getting ready to open this, so we'll look at it together.
Mm-hmm.
But the test went okay?
Yeah, I feel like, yeah.
You don't...
Just, I'm sure with all lie detector tests, you know, you're nervous the whole time you do it. Just the feeling of having it strapped to you and, you know.
But did he explain everything well?
Yeah.
It was clear?
All clear as day, everything. He went through all the steps. There's nothing I didn't know.
How did this compare to the other one, professionalism-wise? And
I feel a lot better. First, there's a video, you know, a live video, which I think was great. It was just a lot more professional.
All right.
This is my polygraph test.
This is the result. And, you know, there was a video, but we didn't see it. Because, as I say, you can't have cameras in there. That compromises the protocol. I mean, cameras for the TV show in there.
Yeah.
They keep a record for their own. All right, the first question that you were asked was, did Jake shoot himself? And you said yes. And the second question was, did Jake shoot himself in the head? And you said yes. And the results are that was deceptive.
Both of them? I don't know what to say.
What I said to you on stage, I say to you now. Nobody, not me, not them, not anybody, is suggesting or implying that you have done anything wrong here. Everybody agrees this was an accident. Nobody believes that there was any criminal intent here. But if you're covering for somebody, or you don't know how it happened, or I don't know what you would have to know or not know to come up deceptive on that test. And I haven't pushed you on this. I haven't bullied you on this. I've tried to be as supportive with you as I can.
I can't believe the results came back as deceptive. I just don't understand what could have factored in that. I just know what happened that night.
You know, you maintain that you know 100% certain that he shot himself.
Yes.
Then why are you coming up deceptive on the test?
I don't know. I can't explain that.
If you know something, and this test suggests that you know something you're not telling us, and if that's true, let me help you with it. I will get you a lawyer. I will make sure that they protect you. If you started with a lie that you don't know how to get out of or whatever, it's never too late to tell the truth, and I will get you help to do that if that's what is necessary.
There's really nothing. There's nobody I'm covering for. There's nobody I really don't understand. I'm very upset that they can be deceptive. I was so happy, and you know, this can come back truthful, and I can't explain why it came back deceptive.
When I look at, I've worked with Cyril Wecht for years. You heard him. You heard him talk. He sounded pretty knowledgeable, didn't he?
Yeah, he knows what
I mean,
he's
this
doing.
guy knows what he's doing, and he is saying, if that gun had been 18, 24 inches in, from 24 inches on in,
There would have been stifling.
there would have been tattooing and stifling. It would have been on the bone. It would have possibly been on the brain. It certainly would have been on the skin. It would have been, and there's none of that there. You can't change science. I mean, if this is a .357 Magnum, you have seen them shoot in slow motion. You know the fire that comes out at the end of the barrel. That leaves a mark. It leaves a residue. And so he's saying that is virtually impossible for that to have happened. Something had to be going on, wrestling, horseplay, falling backwards. Something had to be going on in order to physically get in that position. If there's something you know that you haven't shared, you need to do it now.
Like, I don't understand why they came back deceptive. I don't understand why there was no stifling. I just know that I was there and he shot himself. And there was no horseplay. I know for a fact that he shot himself and that none of us had that gun in our hand when he did it. The last person to have that gun and either to pull the trigger or pull the hammer back was Jake himself.
Brittany's your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Are you covering for her?
No, I am not. Well, but I'm honestly, I can't, it says I'm a liar. That's what I feel like it's telling. But I'm not lying to you. There's nothing, I'm not covering for anybody, and nothing that I know of from my perception of being there and seeing it happen, not looking at him, but knowing after.
Do you feel guilty about this whole situation?
I feel really guilty for for not saying anything in the car when he said he had a loaded gun with him. I was really angry when he picked him up, first time we met him, that he had a loaded gun. But I just try to be a gentleman or a cool guy and just not say anything about it. It's only, I feel horrible for family, and I have to sit there. I have to think about it a lot, you know what I mean? Like, why isn't there stifling, and how come this is all turning out for the worst for us when we had no hand in this? Like, this is just an accident that happened.
I'm going to let you go. Let me talk to Brittany. To follow protocol, I have to tell each of you individually what your results are. So let me do that, and then we'll see where we are, okay?
All right.
All right.
Thanks for talking to me.
Yeah. You were asked two questions that are basically the same. Did Jake shoot himself? Did Jake shoot himself in the head? The results are...
How are you?
I'm all right. How'd the test go with Jack?
Oh my gosh. It's a polygraph test. It's pretty nerve-wracking.
How did he do? I mean, did you feel comfortable with him?
Yeah.
I have the results here.
Already?
Yes.
All right.
I haven't opened this yet. And I thought we would look at them together. He did a pre-interview, is kind of what they call it, I guess, where you all define terms and what the question meant.
Yeah.
So you were fully clear when you took the question. Okay. Well, it says here you were asked two questions that are basically the same. Did Jake shoot himself? And you said?
Yes.
Yes. Second question, did Jake shoot himself in the head? And you said?
Yes.
The results are that was deceptive.
I just feel like as if I came on the show and got set up to do this, and then you guys bring in this polygraphist who does a polygraph test, and you guys put whatever you want on a piece of paper and then send me back off, and it doesn't work like that. Like, this is my life. I didn't lie.
So let me be clear. You're accusing me of fabricating these results and putting something on a piece of paper?
This is for TV, right?
This is for a boy's life.
This is for a boy's life, but this is also for my life, which is I'm living, Dr. Phil, and I didn't lie.
Have you not been treated with dignity and respect the entire time you've been here?
I have.
By me?
I have.
By my staff? And have I not done everything I could to keep you in that frame and in that position.
But I'm
and
telling
so when
the
you
truth.
suggest to me that I've fabricated these results because this is a TV show, that's offensive to my sensibilities, and it makes me wonder why you would say something like that, because that seems
really
desperately
hurt.
defensive.
It hurts, and that's how I get very
seems
defensive.
Desperately defensive.
I get defensive when people push my buttons, and I'm sorry, but I'm a girl, and I'm being told that my answers were deceptive when I was not. I swear on Jacob right here, he did this. None of us kids did this. None of us.
Let me tell you what this answer means. It means that you either know something that you're not sharing, or you don't know what you're claiming to know. That's the only two ways to interpret this. You either know something that Jim said, because so you 100% certain that he shot himself and shot himself in the head, to which you said yes. You either really don't know, or you know something that you're not telling us. And nobody, including me, thinks that anybody here has broken the law or done something criminal. I told you that on stage, right?
Thank you, yeah.
And I say that again. Listen, this isn't designed to get you in trouble. I don't think anybody believes that you have done something that has broken the law, or that you had malice in your heart or ill will or anything of the sort. That's just simply not the case here. That's not what we're talking about, Brittany. What we're talking about is that a terrible accident happened.
And Jacob did this terrible accident.
And if there's something you know, and let me tell you what I mean by this. If there's something you know that you haven't wanted to say, or there's something that you were afraid would get somebody in trouble, and once you kind of start down one line of telling a version of a truth, then you can't get out of it. If there's something that you need to change or add, I don't know. What I know is that we have what I believe is the best pathologist in the world, Cyril Wecht. And he's saying, look, this can't happen the way it is. And you listen to him, and the science says it couldn't have happened that way.
He said that it was possible, that he didn't believe it happened that way, but it was possible.
He said if someone was an absolute contortionist,
by going like this,
they could figure a way to do it.
Turning your head?
But I saw you doing that while he was talking at the time. Did that happen? Did you see that?
I have no idea, Dr. Phil. I'm saying it's a possibility.
If you know that, but tell us what you know, not what's a possibility.
Well, they're telling us possibilities.
We have Jack Tremarco, who is, I believe, an absolute...
He's a wonderful person.
Perfect professional. I mean, the guy does it right. This says that you either don't know what you say you know, or you know something you're not saying you know. And all I'm telling you is, if that's the case, tell me and let me help you with it.
This was it was, what, 1.5 years ago?
Yes.
I don't remember everything, and it frustrates me.
Understand.
Jacob did this to himself. I don't know how. I wish I knew, but I don't.
Okay.
Jacob, why are you doing this to me? Why did you do this? Thank you for making my life hell. Thank you.
I have to live without Jake every day. I don't want another parent to live without their child every day because of a mistake.
I have the polygraph results for Will and Brittany. I have talked to them both backstage. They were asked 2 questions on the polygraph. I want to tell you what they were. First question, did Jake shoot himself? Second question, did Jake shoot himself in the head? Will and Brittany were both tested. They both came up as deceptive. This is on a continuum, and they would have to get to a 4 to be deceptive, and they were both at an 8, which means this was not a close call. This was not a borderline result. Mike, what'd you want to say?
I don't know, Dr. You know, they're victims too, I believe. I want them to know that.
Well, I have talked to both of them, and they both maintain their innocence. And they were shocked at the results. They both maintain their innocence completely and fully. But the results are what they are. Shannon, what do you want to say?
I don't. We've tried to make it easy in a way on them. I know this has been hard on them too, feeling accused and such every day. But we have made it clear from day one, we did not want to see anyone go to jail for this. And I have not changed my mind on that. I have to live without Jake every day. I don't want another parent to live without their child every day because of a mistake, an accident. And I have not changed my mind about that.
I talked to Mr. Tremarco, talked to Jack. I said, was this a good test? He said yes. I asked if there was anything that would make it compromised. He said no. Polygraph is not an exact science. We have to acknowledge that. So that's where we are at this point, and I'm hoping this advances your understanding, if not give you the freedom of the burden and the clarity that you were looking for. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for them. I'm sorry for y'all. I'm most sorry for Jake. And I don't, we don't know what happened. But I think we have a lot more information than we did when we started this day. What do you think?
Yes, we have a whole lot more.
I wish we knew more than we do, but I think we know more than we did.
Yes.
Okay, any final comment?
Just thank you.
Any final comment?
Thank you, Dr. Phil. So, Jack, thank you.
All right. Well, I thank all of you that have been following us along here. I want to give a special thanks to Dr. Cyril Wecht, one of the busiest guys around, that took his time to join us by satellite and enlighten us all about what the facts show in this case. I also want to give a special thanks to Jack Tremarco for his excellent work and the many hours that he has spent today in conducting these polygraph interviews and examinations. And I want to thank all of y'all for coming here. I hope you're glad that you did. We'll see you next time.